What is up, you guys? Gamer Life Studio here, back at it with another hot take. In this video, we're going to be talking about and going over the Todd Howard interview, talking about Elder Scrolls 6, but also Starfield along the way as well. Now, I did wanted to do this video earlier from last week, but unfortunately, last week we had a bunch of crazy news drop, like where PlayStation shutting down Bluepoint, and then right after that, Xbox and their new, CEO has stepped in, and I think, like again, Phil Spencer is out, and I think Sarah Bond has resigned and went to another whole new position. I don't know whether they got pushed out or not. I do believe Phil Spencer probably got pushed out a bit. But we'll see what happens over there on the Xbox side of camp. PlayStation, I don't know what the hell is going on over there, but it was just a whole bunch of crazy ass drama, and I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to go over it, but unfortunately I had that to do, so now we're here. So we're going to be going over everything in the kind of funny interview that they had with Todd Howard with Starfield. We'll start with that, and then we'll end it off with Elder Scrolls 6 stuff and what are the things that I'm thinking, and and all this stuff. And given the recent news that happened over there with the CEO shakeup and stuff like that, we might add that a little bit in here, for the sake of how I'm feeling about this. Are we gonna still get next gen consoles? Are we still gonna get this? So we'll go over all of that stuff, but without further ado, make sure you like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I really do appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get started with the video itself. So I already got this lined up, ready to go. We got Todd Howard right here next to personally, I don't like Kind of Funny. I'm just gonna get this shit out the way. I really don't like their shit that they do, but if they got interviews with people and we're might get some news and tidbits and stuff, I'm willing to kind of put my ears and listen closely and see what's going on. So let's see what's up with Starfield first, because I think Starfield is going to be talked about first before he start dropping a whole bunch of stuff about Elder Scrolls 6, at least some insights what's going on. So let's go start this now.
Many places to start, Todd, and I think the only logical place to start is, of course, Starfield. I know some Elder Scrolls 6, when the Fallout remastered rumors, all the we'll get to that. All right, we'll get to that. Everybody watching live and watching later, when you get a show, you're allowed to ask about your favorite game, because I was offended this morning when I went to the No Sodium Starfield subreddit, which I go to frequently, if not daily. I'm there lurking and looking. Agent Shane said, of course, watch him talk about everything but Starfield. And then, of course, on that thread, I said, I am one of you. I will get us Starfield answers or else. Todd, what the hell is going on with Starfield? Because even before I let you answer, I have never had a more wackadoo preview than what you all let me do for Starfield's upcoming content, where you let me go to a thing with a bunch of other creators and we were told you're not allowed to report on this or talk about this, but you're allowed to say you saw it. And so now, for like the last 4 months, every so often one of them says that, people flip out thinking it's Starfield 2.0 and what's going on. Where are we? What's going on with Starfield?
No, first of all, thanks for the Reddit comment there. I'm a big Redditor, so I do read Reddit a lot. It's my sort of favorite signal to noise, platform as it comes to that stuff. And yeah, look, obviously we've been working on a lot of Starfield content. We haven't talked about it yet because, the end of last year too is particularly for us, we sort of period of time where we focus on IPs or franchises, and Fallout really obviously dominated the fall and a little bit in it early this year. You've seen it, and I can tell everybody we're going to be talking about it, really soon. We're moving into a phase where we're ready to talk about Starfield.
Okay.
And really show that in the right way and what's coming to the game. We've been doing a lot of work that we like a lot. It is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that, so I don't, for expectation setting, I think it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. It's, updates and things that, change the game, not in an isolated way, but sort of, meta.
Sure.
Okay, so we can stop right there. So basically, he's saying that Starfield is going to be talked about or coming out soon or soonish, which means that this does sound like this could possibly be around March, April-ish, most likely. Again, if we go right here, right, at least he clarified and let everybody know that there's no Starfield 2.0 coming. So he's making it loud and clear. He's setting expectations, which I do appreciate that. See, I like Todd because he can set realistic expectations, because a lot of the people in the gaming community, just running these hog wild bullshit like drama things, right? Like we seen what's happening going on between like PlayStation and also Xbox. With Xbox, with new leadership, everybody's like going hog wild on this girl, like, oh, she's not a gamer, why she blah blah blah, oh no, Xbox is doomed because of AI, like making all these over exaggerated garbage. But then at the same time, when you're looking at PlayStation, it's like, oh well, PlayStation is going to start peeling back from porting games over to PC. That's just a rumor right now, but people are like excited and happy about that, and most likely probably maybe Xbox is putting that back on the table, putting exclusive back on the table. I personally don't think so. I highly doubt it, because they're making too much fucking money. And again, third party and a lot of people like Square Enix, and we seeing like Capcom with Resident Evil Requiem is on top of the fucking charts. Like, people are buying the game and playing it more than any other first party exclusive, especially on the PlayStation side. PlayStation first party exclusive has not get the same love or treatment like how a third party game like Resident Evil from Capcom, right? So again, they got a lot of issues and problems, and again, they're shutting down studios. There's a lot of problems and mismanagement over there. So like, again, we don't know what the future will hold between, Xbox and, PlayStation side of things. But again, people on YouTube just making up this garbage, bullshit, expectations so high. Like, please just sit down and shut the fuck up, okay? When I listen to him, right, and I'm listening to Todd Howard, he's setting some realistic expectations, and he's not trying to do this whole thing. So if you like Starfield and you play Starfield, you're gonna get more Starfield. If you didn't like Starfield from what you played, okay, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Then and that's fine. It's just like me. I can still be a Bethesda fan, but I don't have to like every single thing what Bethesda do. You know what my least favorite franchise out of Bethesda is? Fallout. I mean, I do play Fallout when I feel like it, but it's not like I play Fallout every single day. I can care less about Fallout. If Fallout 5 came out, it's not a game that I rush out and say, yo, I'm gonna buy this day one. I can literally like pass up and say, I could wait for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then I'll get the game then, right? Now, not to say Fallout is a bad game, it's really not. If you're a fan of Fallout, that's great for you. But again, you don't see me shitting on Fallout saying, oh, why is it not like how this game, Stalker 2? Because I play a lot more Stalker 2. I'd much rather play that game than playing Fallout, right? But you don't see me doing all this crazy bullshit talk saying like, oh man, like this game got to be like this, and it should have like, this engine from open world GSC, and no, come on, just shut the fuck up, okay? It's a video game. Whatever engine that they're running or doing, whatever thing that they're doing, just let them do it, okay? As long as the game is fun and it's enjoyable, that's all that should matter at the end of the day. So I like Starfield. If you don't, that's a you problem. But Starfield is here to stay, and they clarify saying that they are working on content with Starfield. Now, he said that Starfield is going to be not an overhaul change. It's going to change in a meta way. So what does that mean? It basically means that, like basically changing the system, not the parts. Pretty much it's just like probably like certain things that they're going to change or make improvements, making something better and adding something a little bit more. So they are going to refine it and make the system seems to be feeling more functional, but not like the engine parts, like where they're just like, yeah, let's just take this part and just redo this whole engine part all over again. They're not going to do that. I think this is just making improvements across the board and seeing what they've done. So I think that's what, again, setting like more realistic expectations. And again, Starfield is reported to set for PS5, released during spring 2026 alongside a new expansion. I think this right here seems to be very, very true. Because like, again, he said in an interview that he's going to be, talking about it soon, like soonish. So probably it's going to be either in March or going into April. It probably might be at the end of March going into April, or might be in the beginning of March or the second week of March. And they'll talk about it, show it off and stuff like that. And what's going to be bringing in something new to the table. But let's hear what he has to say. So I'm going to rewind it back just a tad. Right, just so we can get a little bit of a recap, and then we'll continue on.
The end of last year too, particularly for us, we sort of periods of time where we focus on IPs or franchises, and Fallout really obviously dominated the fall and a little bit in it early this year. You've seen it, and I can tell everybody we're going to be talking about it, really soon. We're moving into a phase where.
So they're going to be talking about it really soon. So it does sound like could be from March or April, like going at the end of March going into April, or in the beginning of March, or maybe the second week of March, they might show it off and talk about it. So it's going to be within a month and a half, they're going to be talking about it and showing it off. So it is going to be coming very, very soon.
We're ready to talk about Starfield.
Okay.
And really show that in the right way and what's coming to the game. We've been doing a lot of work that we like a lot.
And they've been doing a lot of work, which is true, because we thought that we're going to get this expansion or something from last year, and we did it. So they've really been very quiet and putting their heads down. And I think like the last update was like even like a couple of months even back. So they haven't really updated the game or anything. So they've been really working extremely hard for this and the expansion. So it's going to be very interesting. What are some of the things they're going to bring to the table? So again, we can sit here and speculate, this, that, or the third, but I think we can understand the gist of it. Like mostly is going to be the system improvements and stuff like that you're probably going to notice, and some other aspects of it, and something that they might add in new to the gameplay mechanics. I mean, we've seen also in the Curation Club, I forgot, the Curation Club, they did a DLC. I forgot whose that is. Damn, I forgot. I'm trying to think, but it's basically the Watchtower curation. So we've seen that they in Watchtower, right? That's a curation, that's a modder DLC stuff. And they added in like mechanics, this, that. They added like, like fleet commanding kind of stuff, like where you can have a fleet and travel through the star system and stuff like that, with not just one ship, but multiple ships around you. And you can actually do ship battles and stuff, which is really cool. So if we see that, and they've been working on this, I'm pretty sure they're trying to make sure it works and implement it within this new Starfield, this new update that's going to be coming. So it's going to be very interesting to see what are they going to bring to the table, and what's new threat, like whatever new threat might be on the horizon and stuff. So
it is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that, so I don't, for expectation setting, I think it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. It's,
pretty much, I like Starfield and I'm going to love it. Okay. I much rather play Starfield than Fallout. Okay. If I wanted to play a Fallout style type of game like that, I go with Stalker 2. Okay. That's where I'm at. Okay. No disrespect to Fallout. I don't mind if, you know, I might dabble with it and play it, but it's nothing that I'm writing home about. I can care less about Fallout. You know, I don't care about New Vegas. That's just me, okay? That's just me. I'm not speaking for everybody. That's just for me, okay? Don't get mad at me. I like Starfield.
Updates and things that, you know, change the game, you know, not in an isolated way, but sort of, you know, meta.
Sure.
Using outer space and things in ways that we haven't. But look, if Starfield's something that, you know, didn't.
Now, that's a nice little note right there. He's using outer space that, you know, way. So I think we kind of got the hint of that with the curation DLC of Watchtower. Like, again, like having multiple commanding fleets, you know, ships and customization, who's commanding that ship, you know. I just hope like they actually, the one thing that I hope Starfield can improve is definitely the POI system, like make it more variety of it and more kind of dynamic, like, you know, events might happen here and there. You know, it doesn't have to be so often, but most of the time I would like to see some random encounters and stuff. Like, you know, I could investigate something, you know, in a building or something, and then like other, like, you know, commanders like starting to come to investigate in the same building that I am, and then we see them try to flank us behind us and stuff, and then, you know, be good little shootout and stuff. I like that. I like those kind of like little touches and stuff what Modders is doing. Hopefully they'll add something similar to that with like mixing up some of the PUIs and other unique stuff. Fixing loot and stuff like that in the game will be one thing too, be a great improvement. So there's a couple of things. It'll be interesting.
Connect with you right away, or you bounced off it or found it boring in places. I don't think this is going to change that fundamentally. But if you're someone who loves Starfield, like you, Greg,
yeah.
we think it's really, we're really happy with it. We like it a lot. And we have such a big audience on the game. It's really like a Game Pass hours beast in terms of Starfield for us. And
so there's another little tidbit right there for anybody who's sitting there saying, well, Game Pass wasn't successful, it's not doing that much money. He clearly said is a Game Pass beast, like how many hours that people been putting in, like even way before the hate and all these like crazy bullshit starts to happening. Starfield, like players was playing well over like 200 hours, 100 hours, 80 hours, 50 hours. Some people was going over 300, 400 hours. And I probably might be up there, I will say at least about 400, 500 hours easily for me. I played it a lot of times, and guess what? I haven't even finished the game. Like, that's how much I'm taking my time. I get lost in the game, I'm playing it, and I get sidetracked and just doing all these crazy things, building up stuff. There's just so much shit to do in that game. It's unreal. It's like the things you could do is just crazy. But it's fun. I love it. The guns, this, that, traveling through planets and stuff is awesome. So, but at least he made it clear that, hey, it's definitely was successful on there as well. So there's that.
And we're really happy with the results, and our audience is great.
Is that imminent? You're preparing, you're getting ready to talk. How close to talking are we?
It's soonish. It is
soonish. So probably might be early March. Like, again, and want to let you know right here that, you know, a lot of people might say, well, Starfield is not successful and all this bullshit, whatever, right? Well, we can go right here to Nexus mods, right? You see the top one is Elder Scrolls 5 Special Edition, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Then you got the regular Skyrim, Cyberpunk 2077, Fallout New Vegas, Starfield Valley, Baldur's Gate 3, Oblivion, the old Oblivion game, not the remake and remaster one, the old one. And then you got The Witcher 3, then you got Fallout 3, and guess who's here? It's Starfield. And Starfield has how many mods that it has? Yeah, so they got this many collections, and then they got like well over like 12.2k. Shit, that's a lot of mods right there. So it's moving up. It's moving up. It hasn't moved down. I think before, right, if we was to look at it like this, but it's in the 11th place. But before, I think Starfield was all the way down to like where Elden Ring is and down here a bit further. But now look at it, it climbed all the way up and is surpassing even Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which is crazy, and this. So it's definitely moving up to the charts, definitely going up towards the top 10. Is already at 11th place. Hell, you never know, probably get the next like couple more years, like after this DLC and probably even more mods and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised it's going to make it up to here at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, we already know that it's going to be releasing alongside, it's going to be releasing onto the PS5, and it's going to be releasing alongside with the new expansion. And we already know when Starfield goes to PlayStation, it's going to be on the top chart. I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to be all the way down to the 4th or 5th page. It's going to be right here on the top, making a shit ton of money. They already made money off of Xbox, they made money off of PC players, and they're going to be making money off of the PS5. Now, again, I think now is the better time to do it before GTA 6 comes around the corner. So they say, hey, let's go put this game out there, get it ready on there. So then when the people are kind of like, okay, I want to take a break from GTA, and they want to go jump back either Resident Evil, they might jump back any of these third-party games, or they might jump back to Starfield, something that they can play, do a little something, do little missions, and then jump back over. So again, like we see the top charts here, you know, we know Starfield is going to make it on the top charts. We already see Resident Evil Requiem came out on the 27th and is already top of the chart right here. NBA 2K26, Fortnite, Call of Duty, right? So I don't like, again, for the haters out there thinking like the game is boring, it's not going to be successful, it's not going to be like that, I promise you it's going to make it out to the top chart. Hell, even surprisingly, if we go to number 2 page, right? And I believe Valve is right over here. Valve used to be even going on towards the first page not that long ago. It was basically was on the first page. So, and that was from Obsidian. So given the fact that this Obsidian game selling and doing well tells you something, okay? Forza Horizon 5 is still here, is selling, and is still doing fucking well. Still making money. Fallout 76 is right here, still making money, still making sales. So I don't know, like, again, PlayStation, like, first party games is here. Usually you'll be expecting, like, you know, Ghost of Yotei will make it up to here, but it's not. Usually Ghost of Yotei, as far as I can know, is makes it up to right here at this point, but nowhere near up the top, like right next to like NBA 2K and Fortnite and Call of Duty, like all right here in a row. Capcom got a banger on their hands. They're making fucking money hands over fist, not only on PS5 but also on Xbox and on PlayStation 5, PC and Xbox and PS5. So they're making money. So when I was saying earlier that, you know, with this whole like exclusive might be coming back, or they might be moving away towards PC, I personally do not think so, because given the fact that we're seeing, especially Xbox, seeing their money is growing, and their money is growing, which Minecraft is growing, Call of Duty is growing, right? And some of their other title games that's also growing. Forza Horizon 5, that made a lot of fucking money as well. Fallout 76 is making some money, still getting recurring player. Valve made its money, and surprisingly, Valve, the reviews, you can see it right here, it's pretty much good. I think it was 80%, 88%. Now it's dropped down to 77%. But even so, this is still fucking good, and this rating is still good. So they're doing something right. I don't know. So, but going back to Starfield again, I truly believe it's definitely going to be right up here somewhere on the top charts. I'm pretty sure it's going to be up here for sure. Probably maybe right here. It's going to be up here on the first page for sure. So let's go back to Todd Howard. Let's hear what else he has to say about Starfield.
It's soonish. I don't want to spoil the day, but it's coming soon. Yeah.
And then I guess the next one for you to dodge is, do you feel like, is this going to put a bow on Starfield for you, for the team to then move on to all the other projects you're working on?
Look, we do have a lot of projects, and so I think balancing that with the size of our studio, we do have a lot of development partners also, but still we're relatively small.
So if we hear that, that means like, because this mic goes into relationship with Elder Scrolls 6. So if you hear it, he said there's a lot of projects that they're doing going on, and they also have partners outside of Bethesda that's also helping out. So that means that the development of Elder Scrolls 6 is pretty much on track. I wouldn't say it's perfect, and the release date is going to be releasing in 2026. I highly doubt it, and I don't think so, no. Because I think it's just going to be the year of Fable is the year for this. And I think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the year for 2027 for next gen console, because I did make a video about that, and that hasn't changed. Given the fact that the new CEO is in charge, I don't think like everything that they're doing right now, like their plans like going forward, everything been set in stone. So I don't think we're going to see anything like drastic changes or something like this. I don't think so. I think we're gonna sit back, enjoy 2026. Nothing gonna really change. Maybe next year we might see changes, okay, but I will still keep an eye out on the June showcase that's going to be coming up for Xbox. That's something we gotta look at and see whether or not like how things are going with, are they just going to keep everything in place and plan, or they might change a little bit something, who knows. But it seems to me like everything has been set in stone. But again, they got outside help with Bethesda, so they're not just like, okay, we're just like, this is the team that we got, and now we got to jump to this project, now we got to jump to the other project. No, they got all these projects are being worked on simultaneously, and they also have backup and help from outside of that. So let's rewind that a little bit, because
all just over.
Let me rewind that a little bit, right? Because he also said something else too.
Mentally, but if you're someone who loves Starfield like you, Greg, and we have such a big audience on the game, it's really like a Game Pass hours beast with the results, and our audience is great.
Is that imminent? You're preparing, you're getting ready to talk. How close to talking are we?
It's soonish. It is soonish. I don't want to spoil the day, but it's coming soon. Yeah.
And then I guess the next one for you to dodge is, do you feel like, is this going to put a bow on Starfield for you, for the team to then move on to all the other projects you're working on?
Look, we do have a lot of projects, and so I think balancing that with the size of our studio, we do have a lot of development partners also, but still
we still got a lot of developer partners. So basically outside of that, they do got partners that also helping and contributing with Bethesda. So there's that.
Relatively small, just over 500 people across everything.
Super tiny.
But that's the trick.
So 500 people across everything. So if we look at it, basically he's saying that I got 500 people working on Elder Scrolls 6. You got 500 people probably working on. He said each, right? Hold on, let me just back up a minute.
Relatively small, just over 500 people across everything.
Super.
500 people across everything. Okay, so it's not each. So across everything is about 500 people. So it depends on how many people that are in each of those areas. I'm pretty sure Fallout 5 is still either in planning and concept stages and trying to get a story going with that. They're pretty much in that stage over there, because that game ain't gonna come out anytime soon. So they're probably in that stage. We know that Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, or pre-production or in full production. I don't think it's in full production. I think it's in full production, not pre-production. But I'm pretty sure. No, yeah, I think it's pre-production. I think it is. And then we already know Starfield has already been done and whatever, and they're just making DLC. So you could say, yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 is in full production. They still got a small team working on Starfield content and stuff like that. And then then Fallout 5, most likely they are still in either planning and concept stages and story planning for that game, because they haven't started working on that game yet. But at least they know that they're trying to get something together before that. So there's that.
But that's the trick. Well, across Fallout
I know.
and Starfield and the Elder Scrolls work, I think balancing that, what's important for a period of time, that's kind of a trick that we find ourselves in a lot. But no, we're doing more Starfield stuff coming up. We've been laying that out, and so
they're still doing more Starfield stuff. So this confirms that this is not going to be the last DLC that they're ever going to do. No, they're still going to do more DLC content, more stuff with Starfield. So that's still going to be being worked on and still putting more content for that, which is good. I'm happy for that, right? And we're seeing the success in the Nexus mods and where they're at 11th place. They're literally only one step up away from the top 10 in Nexus mods, so they're really not that far off. Starfield is not that far off from being there. So, and again, people have to download it and play it. So people are downloading the game, people are playing the game, people are downloading mods for the game, people are using creation engine mods and stuff. So there's that. So
it's something we see continuing,
Okay.
for a while. We also have all the creators.
So it's going to continue for a while.
They're doing amazing stuff in the game. So I think working with them also kind of keeps really good content coming into the game, and we're going to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that, for me is, as a Starfield sicko, as I keep saying, so impressive. As I think, as much as I have loved Fallout in the past, I was always on consoles. So the modding community, the creation community wasn't my thing for a long time. I know eventually, obviously, it came to consoles. But with Starfield having it out the gate so quickly, I've been shocked to see how much that has kept the game alive for me, of dropping in for these big additions, whether they be from Bethesda proper or whether they be from the community. And even going as far as it was 2 months ago, last month? I think it was last month, January, right? Time's a flat circle and a blur right now, where they did StarCon. Did you see this, where they did like a little Starfield digital convention? It was on Zoom all day. People came together to talk about their creations and what they were doing and where they were going. I loved it. I had such a great time.
Yeah, look, our community there is amazing. Our creators and modders who have been with us for so long, we love it. And I honestly still think it's early days for us. We're always trying to find new ways to support that community. I think the content is, absolutely incredible, but we have a ways to go in terms of making it easier for them, putting it in front of everybody, saying, hey, try this out. With our older games and creations of Fallout 4, we still have issues when we update the game. It breaks mods, and so we see all that. So we still feel like, even though we've been doing this type of thing for several decades, that we're still early in what that looks like for everybody.
So take me from that last statement to the general future of Bethesda games, right? You make this game, you make this type of game, you make this thing. Do you see that changing? I think the way you listen to this show, the way we talk about Bethesda games, open world RPGs in general, expanded out for the video game world, you hear so much about, the Bethesda engine, and then me talking about Bethesda makes Bethesda games, and so it's silly for us to show up and think you're going to get something different. But as we see this,
exactly, like that's the best way I could say it, because a lot of these silly little content creators out there that want to sit there and saying they need Unreal Engine 5, they need to have Unreal Engine 5, but Bethesda needs to get off that old ass engine. No, Bethesda should just continue using the engine that they already have, because you know why? Because it's easy for people to come in to learn how to develop games and mod for a game. You know, you're talking about, like, again, I hear this shit happens all the time, okay? We hear the same bullshit ass complaints here. We hear the same garbage takes from all these content creators. Most of them are just saying the same dumb shit, right? Not to say any names, but hey, you know what? I'm gonna just say it. Like, again, like Coldcastle Cage, you got fucking Gas over there, you got the fucking Blaze 4K, you got all these fucking drama bitches that's on fucking YouTube saying the most dumbest, idiotic fucking shit. I'll just tell you why. Because you know why? Because guess what? If you look right here, this is Resident Evil Requiem. What engine you think is using? Are they using Unreal Engine fucking 5? No, they're not. They're using their own in-house engine. Kingdom Come Deliverance is using their own fucking engine. I don't even think Kingdom Come Deliverance is not even running on Unreal Engine 5. It's not. They're running on their own fucking engine. So some of these games that we see out here that has their own engine, their own in-house stuff, is doing successful and doing great. Just because Fortnite is running shit on Unreal Engine 5, that doesn't make it like, oh, everybody else gotta run Unreal Engine 5. It'd be stupid. You know, it's dumb as fuck. I want them to run the engine the way how they feel comfortable that they can run it. Because again, we're seeing Unreal Engine 5 games and some of these studios don't know how to, you know, put it like this way. It's not, the engine is not fully like stable and completely done. It has problems, it has issues, just like how Unreal Engine 4 had its problems and its issues, right? Just like we're seeing it right now in current gaming in Unreal Engine 5, it has problems and issues, right? More importantly is stability, you know, right? Stability and the performance is not quite solid or there yet. Whoever's that's in charge, whether it's Tim Sweeney or whoever the fuck, they need to get off their ass and start making their engine to be more efficient, and it also has better stability. So when somebody does make a game, it ain't gonna be like how it is right now. Like again, Unreal Engine is like, yeah, it's good, but it's not stable, right? But then you see like Resident Evil Requiem using their own in-house engine and is running perfectly fine. They may have one small issue or two, but it's not to the point where it's like, oh my god, like the performance is so bad, or it shakes, or it freezes and shit. You know, I want studios to feel comfortable with their own engine. And like, again, Todd Howard proven that Creation Engine is the way to go. Why? Because it's easy for people to mod. Okay, one thing for certain, you do not see Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster mods. Where's that at? Because it's definitely not on here. For sure. I don't even see it. Unless it's right here. So it's right here. So it's all the way back over here. Now this came out, you know, what, not that long ago. And it's already like, they don't even have like enough people to mod this game for that. We still got the old game. We still got the old one that's still on the top chart. This hasn't even made it up there yet. But yeah, you know, like, again, when it comes down to Creation Engine stuff, all the creation mods is all up here on the top chart. Why? Because it's easier to download the kit, run it, and do it. And I'm not saying the kits are perfect. They're not perfect. But even so, it's more easier to deal with this. Because again, if Oblivion on Unreal Engine 5 was easier to mod, then basically, you know, Oblivion Remaster would have been up here already. But you see, it's not even up here. What's up here? Creation Engine, right? Creation Engine 1, right? All the way towards Creation Engine 2. You know? So it's up here. So everything that's been running has been up here. It's been running and proven on Creation Engine. So they're doing what they need to do. Okay? They don't need to go to Unreal Engine 5. Fuck that. Okay? Just like Cyberpunk had their own engine and they're moving to Unreal Engine 5. That's their business. If they want to do that, then that's their company. That's their choice. If they feel comfortable in doing it. right? But not every studio has to be like, man, I gotta run Unreal Engine, you know, like, come on. I get tired of Unreal Engine, okay? I get tired of it. They need to fix their shit, and it needs to be more stable. So then when these developers go make the game, it ain't gonna run like shit, or ain't gonna have fucking performance issues. They still need work on that engine, regardless, okay? Just because we went to 4 to 5, that doesn't mean like we've seen a improvement. It still feels like the same shit. People and developers out there have problems with it. But then again, like I said before, we've seen people with their own engine right here is doing extremely well and successful without even running Unreal Engine 5, and that is proven. Kingdom Come Deliverance is the same thing. Come on, it's getting tiresome. I'm tired of the bullshit. Back to Todd Howard.
Success of Baldur's Gate 3 and all the choices and consequences there, as we see people continue to push it and get nerdy with it. I think of the Outer Worlds 2 and the way they did perks and stuff like this. Like, do you guys batten down the hatches and you're committed to your engine and this is what we're making and this is how it's going to be? Or are you letting things come in, influence, and do you see that changing as everything evolves?
I think if you look at our games, we've sort of always evolved. We do have a certain style that we like and our fans like, that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways, well, in many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, you know, a Skyrim or a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4, Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And, you know, as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, you know, we're
okay, we're gonna get into some Elder Scrolls 6 stuff, but I wanted to add a little something what he just said there. Like, again, their games, they did make a detour, and which is good. That's what I like about Starfield. Starfield is a different game than me trying to play Skyrim, which is like a breath of fresh air. I want them to do something different and try something new and make it into more of a different vibe and environment. And Starfield really did nail that. It was different, it was unique, and it's something that is out of the norm. I don't want it to be another Star Wars, okay? I know people mod Starfield to do Star Wars stuff. Personally, for me, I'm just speaking for me here. Personally, for me, I don't want no fucking Star Wars like game, okay? Star Wars, for me, it's pretty boring and is generic, and I'm tired of it, okay? I can care less about Star Wars. Star Wars never captured me is because of Disney fuck-ups with their movies, okay? They keep fucking up, and then we're seeing time and time again, every time when we go to these events or these showcases, they always show like, look, we're gonna have Knights of the Old Republic, we're gonna have this and that, right? Remember when I think it was like EA was showing off like, oh look, we got a Wonder Woman game. What happened to that? That got canceled, right? What happened to Knights of the Old Republic? That's been showed off from fucking years ago now. Still didn't see it, still don't got it. We don't know what the fuck is going on with that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just tired of these old ass franchises, these movie franchises trying to influence into a game like Starfield. Like, Starfield is trying to be different and unique because of the fact that this is a Starfield that takes place in like a different time period. This is like the time period where, like, if Elon Musk made ships that was able to land and take off and do all this crazy stuff, we would basically start seeing people like traveling to space, like here and there, not as often, but here and there. We're nowhere near like Star Wars level where they can manufacture and make these big giant conglomerate fucking ships, these galactic ass ships. Like, we're nowhere near close to that, okay? It's most likely going to be very small ships and medium-sized like star battleships, okay? Nowhere near to the level like some gargantuan shit, right? And that's what I like about Starfield. Starfield is like more, it feels real in a sense, and it's more grounded, and it's more realistic in terms of like how if we was to get spaceships for the first time, how would that look like, and how are we gonna travel back and forth? Like, what it will be like? It will be something like Starfield on that level. We will not get a Star Wars like thing. We're nowhere near close to that. And this is like before the times of like a Gundam. Like they still got mechs and stuff, like grounded, combat pilot mechs in Starfield. But this is not like Gundam territory where they're like, we got mechs like fighting in space, flying around us in mechs to spaceships and shooting and stuff like that. We're not there yet. This is like way before that starts to come to play. You know what I'm saying? Like in that future. And I like about this Starfield, I like this type of universe, this world that Todd Howard has created. It's something different and unique than trying to play something like Star Citizen or something,
Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, a Skyrim or a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4 Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way.
Which is true. That is absolutely 100% true. And I do appreciate that. Thank you, Todd, for at least being creatively different and doing something different. So, and it seems like the haters want to hate, but hey, let them hate, because all I see is the game is growing. More this, more that, is doing well.
And, as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, we're coming back to that kind of classic style that we've missed, that we know really, really well. You talked about, tech and things like that. We spent the last, several years bringing Creation Engine 2, which powers Starfield, up to Creation Engine 3, that's going to power Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond.
Okay, so here comes some Elder Scrolls 6. So let's start moving into that territory. So at least we know about Starfield so far. Now we can start looking at this. Remember when I was making that Elder Scrolls 6 Urlac, and this is that Reddit right here. We can now start cross-referencing a couple of things here that might hold true. Now, again, I don't believe everything on here. As I said before, I don't believe in the release date. And again, I'm not going to talk about the story or anything, because that hasn't been revealed nor whatever, and we can go back and forth all day about it. What we do want to know is we want to highlight some of the key things that this could honestly be, like, most likely be true out of this post. That's what we're doing. So we're going to cross-reference that. So let's go back to here. I want to go back, just rewind it just a tap.
Like that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways, in many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, a Skyrim or a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4 Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And, as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, we're coming back to that kind of classic style that we've missed.
Okay, so it's confirmed that they're going back to the classic style that they missed. So we're gonna get some classics. So if you already play Skyrim right now, pretty much it should feel pretty much the same, but with better improvements overall. So they are going to bring back that classic feel, which is good. All right, so that is confirmed.
That we know really, really well. You talked about, tech and things like that. We spent the last several years bringing Creation Engine 2, which powers Starfield, up to Creation Engine 3, that's going to power Elder Scrolls 6.
So there's another big one right there. So basically, Creation Engine 3 is confirmed to be used in Elder Scrolls 6. So they spent several years leading up towards Creation Engine 2 with improvements and stuff like that. So whatever we see in Starfield, right, we can imagine that some of the stuff is going to be even improved even further. Right, so if we go right here, that it says right here, the Elder Scrolls 6 is built with next gen Creation Engine 3. Todd Howard confirms. So yes, we are going to get something that's going to be looking even better than what we see in Creation Engine 2. If we see Creation Engine 2 is like a major step up, between Starfield going into Elder Scrolls 6, we're going to see a significant jump. We've seen that with Skyrim, with Elder Scrolls. Yeah, if you look at Skyrim Special Edition, comparing it to Starfield, it's a massive fucking jump, like a massive jump. Smooth animations, it doesn't feel clunky. You got more pedestrians, more stuff on there, improve texture qualities and stuff, like gun animations and fighting is a lot improved. So you can imagine that if they are using Creation Engine 3, we could probably see, like, we're going to see even more better than what we see in Starfield, which is going to be even crazy to think about, right? And like, again, let's go over some of the key improvements in the Creation Engine 2, right? Creation Engine 2 key improvements, major visual upgrade, which that is true. Overall animation system, which is absolutely 100% true. The animations in Starfield, say as you will, is way better, 10 times better than Elder Scrolls, okay? 10 times better. Now, you're probably going to sit there and say, no, it's not. Look, if you're playing a modded version of Elder Scrolls, no matter if you're playing Special Edition, that does not fucking count. No mods. We're talking about no mods, no nothing. Bare bones, okay? The animation system in Starfield, bare bones. Comparing it to, Special Edition, right? Comparing to this right here, Special Edition to here is literally a night and day fucking difference. It is a night and day difference. This is from the Creation Engine 1. This is from Creation Engine 2. And the animations in here is remarkable. It's fucking smooth as butter. Smooth. It does not feel jank at all. Even the gun and animations of the guns, like taking it out, putting it back, it's smooth. It is way more smoother than Skyrim Special Edition. And if you're going to sit there and tell me it's not, then I don't know what fucking game are you playing or what kind of mods that you're using on there, but we're talking about bare bones. We're not talking about with no mods, no nothing. Bare bones Skyrim. Bare bones. Like this, original. No mods to it. It's crazy. So, that's true. Visual improvements and world rendering, that's also true. We've seen that in the planets and stuff like that, and the space traveling, which is absolutely amazing. Modernizing the lighting and graphic pipeline, which is true. Enhanced physics and simulation, that is also true. Better performance and scalability, which we also seen in Starfield with New Atlantic City, that you see bigger buildings, longer buildings, subway stations, more pedestrians walking around, more sections on the map you can go and talk to and stuff. So that's also is actually true, that they definitely scale up. New system for space gameplay, yes, that's also true. So we're gonna have new system in probably in Elder Scrolls 6. Because I did talk about this before, like some of the things that they could improve or add to it. Could be one of those things, So, at least we know that it's confirmed that we definitely going to get that, which is good. I'm happy about that. I don't want them to use some crazy, stupid-ass engine. Just keep doing what they got to do and just upgrade it from there. I want a Todd Howard game. I don't want a Baldur's Gate game. Because, you know why? Because I'm not a fan of Baldur's Gate. I'm sorry. Okay, I get it. Baldur's Gate 3 is a great game and stuff like that. That's perfectly fine. If you like that game, that's for you. For me, I don't care about that game. I don't like it, okay? I'm not a Baldur's Gate fan. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm not going to force myself or be, try to be fake or something or try to blend in with everybody else. I'm just not. Right?
And beyond. And obviously we do all the rendering things. We're really happy with the new stuff that we're doing, but also kind of world systems loading, how we bring things into the world.
World systems and loading. Wait, he already talked about another one. We're gonna have to stop a little bit here and there, but we can go back to that post, right? And we can confirm something right here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, okay, so right here, you see right here, so this section right here, whereas it says, right, I'm gonna maybe zoom in it a little bit more, if anything, right? So we go right here, it says right here, world is open, interiors and cities are free of loading zones and minimal loading into procedural generated areas from handcrafted areas and vice versa. So like, again, we're gonna have that mix. So this is definitely confirming, you know, Todd Howard did drop this right here. That is confirmed for sure. So we go back and we hear what he just said.
How we get that.
So let's go back this up for a minute. Put it like 10 seconds back.
Obviously, we do all the rendering things. We're really happy with the new stuff that we're doing, but also kind of world systems loading, how we bring things into the world, how we get
There we go. See?
that detail close to the camera kind of immediately. And so, but it's still, you know, we have a style of game that we really, really like that I think people expect from us.
Sure.
And there's a lot of innovation to be done there still, so that when you step into a world, you feel like you're experiencing it really for the first time, a game like that. And
so basically it's going to be like a breath of fresh air. So basically, when the first time that I played Elder Scrolls, right, when I first played this game way back in 2011, for me it felt like a breath of fresh air. The world, the exploring, discovering new things. I was able to do this thing, that thing. I didn't know that mechanic exists, and I started to explore and learn so much more in Skyrim back in 2011. It was like a breath of fresh air for me. And then Skyrim Special Edition was also kind of a little breath of fresh air with better improvements and lighting and stuff like that they made to the game over the original one. And now stepping into Starfield, it became another breath of fresh air. Again, like I was just like stunned and locked into this world, the planets, this, that, pedestrians, the shipbuilding, all of this crazy stuff, the system, the mechanics. I love it. I love it. It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's so good. And I can't wait. I cannot wait for this game. So the way how he's describing this is describing like we're gonna get that same kind of feel of like once we step out into that world, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. It's definitely going to be a breath of fresh air. So let's go back a little bit and hear that.
Bring things into the world, how we get that detail close to the camera kind of immediately. And so, but it's still, you know, we have a style of game that we really, really like that I think people expect from us.
Sure.
And there's a lot of innovation to be done there still.
So there's going to be some innovation. So basically, whatever the system that we had from before in from Skyrim, they're going to definitely take those systems and elevate it and innovate those things in those like key areas. Who knows? Probably maybe the perk system might get an overhaul, might be a bit more better. They might fix like again like combat style. I mean, we see the smooth animation in Starfield's improvements, right? If we go here, right, and we see the key improvements, right, in Creation Engine 2, we can imagine in Creation Engine 3 it's going to have better, you know, visual upgrades. It's going to be more better, and then more importantly, overhaul animation system basically is going to be maybe more better than what we currently see right here from Skyrim. We're going to probably see it even more better. It's going to be much more overhaul, better combat. And we kind of seen that in there, especially if we started using like knife in the game or swords in the game in Starfield. You start to see like the NPCs getting the reaction where if you stab somebody, they kind of like fall back. Unlike Skyrim, it felt like the same animations. If you take one swing here, they fall like the same kind of way, the same kind of dramatic thing. Like it didn't felt different or unique. It was stiff, right? But in Creation Engine 2 with Starfield, it was unique and different. You started seeing them getting stabbed, getting stuck to the chest, and they started falling back. They're going into a different, like a different way. They're not stiff when they die. They go in different falling animations and stuff like that, which is really cool. I do appreciate that. So if we know that from Creation Engine 2, that means Creation Engine 3 is probably going to be even more better. Could we actually see maybe possibility that where, like, if we use our sword in Elder Scrolls 6 and we cut somebody, can we actually cut off their like arms, their legs? Can we chop it up? Maybe, or can we see them actually visually see like the scar? Like if I slice somebody with a knife on the face, right? If I slice them on the face, does the character face still will have the scar mark on their face, like a deep lash or something like that? That could be a possibility as well. So there's that. He's talking about, again, vast improvement of world rendering. Like, again, we see it from here, we're going to see it from there. And also lighting and graphic pipelines as well. So he is talking about it. So at least we got some little nuggets there. We got some little nuggets. When you
step into a world, you feel like you're experiencing it really for the first time, a game like that. And I think, we're happy with where it's headed right now. That's what I could say.
Okay.
Okay, so they're happy where they're heading. So they're heading in the right direction. So it seems like it sounds all good. They're going back to classic. They're going to innovate on certain gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. So whatever they seen in Skyrim, they're either going to take some ideas and improvements and elevate that, and alongside with the Creation Engine 3, which they're going to overall the animations better, this better. So it's going to be a vastly much improved system. So I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what kind of like new mechanics or mechanics that's in the game that I want to try and test out and see how the game works now than it was before.
I mean, you brought it up. You said the Elder Scrolls 6. So I mean, like, how is that going? Because it's been, let me check my calendar, 7 years.
Yeah, okay. So this is where the part where I'm going to start explaining shit, because like I know like a lot of people said like, well, yeah, it's been out for 7 years. Like if you know, you know. If you don't know, I'll explain it, okay? I'll let him talk.
Since the announcement?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody knows that why we announced it that way then. Yeah, it's not my preference. My preference is...
See, it's not his preference, but everybody knows, Like, again, Todd Howard doesn't have to tell me. I already know. The reason why they did that is because like this. Once upon a time ago, before even Xbox stepped into the picture into like purchasing Bethesda, who was running Bethesda over there? Who was under? Oh yeah, they was under ZeniMax. That's who they was under. That's the publishing, right? The publisher is just going to tell them what they want them to do, and they was doing what? They was chasing after live service, just as much as what PlayStation is doing right now, trying to chase after live service, and they're failing miserably because they're bleeding out money, right? Once upon a time ago, even they was chasing live service, which is actually true, because we can go right here into the store, because guess what? Fallout 76 is a live service type of game. That's pretty much what it is. They want to say, okay, ZeniMax probably told them, oh, this is like a long ago before Xbox stepped in. They said, okay, I want you to make a live service game using your IPs. So they probably sat down and said, what IPs do you want to use? They probably said, you know what? Let's use Fallout 76. That makes more sense. And they said, okay. And they probably made a game around it as a live service type of game, Fallout 76. That's why you got online, this and that, whatever, right? DLC, this, that, and the third, right? They pretty much turned that game you know, and let me tell you something. Fallout 76, before it became right now where it's at, Fallout 76 was absolutely a dumpster fire juice. Okay, it was really, really bad. Okay, it was under ZeniMax, right? Now, ever since then, right, since they got brought out, they're not under ZeniMax anymore. Look at Fallout 76 right now. They turned that shit around. They turned that shit around. Ever since they've been under Xbox and they got brought out, they turned Fallout 76 straight around, and now the game is like popular right now. The TV shows is doing amazing. Season 1 was a success. Season 2 is a success. We know they're working on season 3, right? And the game itself is doing fucking well, right? People are still buying the game. They're playing the game, right? So we know, like, you know, just in case if you didn't understand why they talked about or released the game 7 years ago, is because they want to make sure, like Todd Howard wants to make sure, like, yes, I know this studio and this studio are doing these live service game because our publisher ZeniMax is making us do this. Other than that, I didn't really want to do this, but we have to, you know, that's our, you know, our boss, you know, this is what we do. We're not independent. So they said, just in case if you're worried or scared, yes, we're making a new IP of Starfield. I want to do something new. But yes, they want to make sure it's clear that, yes, we are also working on Elder Scrolls 6. So they put out like that teaser trailer from like 7 years ago, just so like everybody knows that, hey, they're still making single player games. They're not abandoning single player RPG games. It's still working and being cooked. This is like, again, this is before Xbox brought Bethesda. Okay, they had ZeniMax underneath them, and they was chasing after live service, just like the game that everybody hates, right? And you know what they hate? They hate fucking whatchamacallit, Redfall, right? Nobody didn't like Redfall. Redfall is blah 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 garbage, and I get it. Okay, I get it. But when it was under ZeniMax, that's what they was doing. This is why I try to sit there and say, like, honestly, Xbox has nothing to do with that shit whatsoever. They just said, you know what, let's just let them finish it and let them put it out there and be done with it. You know, that's what they did. I mean, Xbox could have just went in there and just shut everything down and say, fuck it, don't work on this project, you know, get this off the store. You know, they could have done that, but they did it. They just said, like, look, just work on it and turn it around. And look at Fallout 76 turnaround. We see Redfall didn't do so hot, and they closed down the studio and stuff like that, right? Whole different conversation. But long story short, Xbox has nothing to do with those live service games in both of those. That's just all ZeniMax bullshit. Okay, so if you know, you know. So now you know, okay, why they release Elder Scrolls 6, that little teaser trailer, like 7 years ago. It's because they just want to make sure for everybody in the fan base that, yes, we're working on Elder Scrolls single player RPG. It's still a long way. We're working on it, and we are still making single player RPG game. They just want to make sure the fan base is okay, because, you know, the fan base can be little titsy totty, you know, just like, oh my god, like, I'm so tired of it. Like, shut the fuck up. If you ain't got nothing else better to do, go fucking do something with your life. It's ridiculous. Everybody whining and complaining, like, Jesus, sit down. Okay, so we got that out the way.
Always, you hear nothing, and then one day the game is out. Like, there's an announcement and the game is out. Like, that's my perfect scenario.
So that's his perfect scenario. But unfortunately, in that scenario, he just want to make sure, like, yeah, just because we're making a new IP, that doesn't mean we're not making Elder Scrolls. We're still making it. Calm down, is in the works. That's pretty much what he's trying to say.
That, you know, that can't always be the case. And at that time, he wanted to signal to people, because it's the obvious question when you announce a 76, are you still going to be doing single player games? So you announce a Starfield. The next question is, well, what about Elder Scrolls 6? So that really was, and even then, look, we know where the game is set. We know some things we're doing. Just, hey, this is going to be happening. And so, look, like I said, it's going well. We're happy with it. It's going to be a while yet.
So it's going to be a while yet. So, like, again, what he just said right there. It's going to be a while. So like, again, this right here, I already said right here, I do not believe in this. I don't believe in this. I think this is going to be in 2027, late 2027, if possible. Could be possibly, might get even pushed back towards 2028. Yes, that could be a possibility. However, I'm pretty sure it's going to be either shown or being like whatever in 2027. I don't think we're not going to see this in 2026. I'll be shocked and ecstatic that they will show this in 2026. There's no way. No way. Not 2026. I think they push it back towards 2027. Like, that's their goal. It makes sense because again, if we know next gen console is going to be on the way, we know that Starfield, right, had a time exclusive, because if we go down to here, right, that they're going to be releasing Starfield during spring 2026 alongside with the new expansion, right? So when they do that and they got that out the way, I'm pretty sure that the next game or most of their focusing is going to definitely be in the Elder Scrolls 6. Now, I don't think we're not going to see anything at all this year where Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe next year in 2027 we might hear or might get a snippet or a tease of something. At least we know that is being worked on for sure, right? And it was a time exclusive. So again, with next gen consoles, when I made that video talking about that one, I said in that video that it makes more sense that if you're gonna put a next gen console like coming out, what game that you want to have exclusively or be exclusive, like kind of, it's not really, but it's going to be releasing on PC and Xbox, and it's not going towards PlayStation, right? What game will be that? What game will definitely going to pull people or draw people, you know, away from Grand Theft Auto 6? Well, that's a game called Elder Scrolls 6. If you're going to pull people away, Elder Scrolls 6 is the next thing, like for real. Hell, even Fallout, even Cyberpunk 2077 Part 2 can pull people away from Grand Theft Auto easily. Like, Grand Theft Auto is a cool game, but let me tell you something. If you just hear the words Elder Scrolls 6, huh? I gotta go play that game. If you hear a winkling of just, oh, we got Cyberpunk 2077 is on its way. Wait, what? It's coming out when? Next year? Okay, hey, I gotta go get that game. I could take a break from Grand Theft Auto. Yo, that definitely will give people a break, because for real, like, nobody wants to keep playing Grand Theft Auto all day. I wouldn't be doing it. I'm definitely not getting Grand Theft Auto for myself. I'm waiting for that till it comes onto PC, because I already know Grand Theft Auto is going to be more superior on that platform. But back to this again, Starfield came out in 2023, 24, 25, 26. So it's been like about 2.5 years that is going to be going towards the PS5, right? That's correct. So if it's about 2.5 years, right, then that means Elder Scrolls 6 will most likely be a time exclusive. So when we go back to here to that Reddit, when he says that it's going to be right here, it's not exclusive to Xbox, but is a delayed release to the PlayStation. I think that is true. I think it's going to be onto the Xbox, most likely going to be released as well alongside with PC, because they see the numbers has grown and it was huge numbers, like very, very big numbers. And now they're going to make even more numbers by releasing Starfield. And then when this game about to be announced and drop, they're going to do it for Xbox and PC. So this right here, I can agree with that. Release date, no, 2027 for me for that. And he did confirm here that the cities, the loading zones and stuff like that, like what he was talking about, this stuff, that's also hinting at this part here. So there is that. So at least we got a couple of things confirmed, and it's running on Creation Engine 3. So that's another thing too, because we could take away from that the improvements. What is it going to do? So we go down here. Yeah, we can see down here with creation into 2 key improvements, right? And we can see right here, you know, overall animations and systems and like that is going to be better than Skyrim, what it was before with the new Elder Scrolls game. Okay, so there's that. So let's hear what he has got to say.
Where we push the technology and how the game is coming together. You know, we're able to play it. We've just passed we're about to.
Whoa! You just drop another nugget. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit.
And even then, look, we know where the game is set. We know some things we're doing. Just hey, this is going to be happening. And so, look, like I said, it's going well. We're happy with it. It's going to be a while yet. We're happy with where we push the technology and how the game is coming together. You know, we're able to play it. We've just passed
We are able to play it, so it's in a playable state. Now, again, I talked about this in my last video, right? When I was mentioning this, right? So if you go back up here, I was talking about it, how this game is most likely in a playable state. And he just confirmed this right now that it is in a playable state. What does that mean? Okay, so basically, when we was talking about a playable state, this is what it means. When you go here on this thing, and I was talking about this, and we know Aralakis right here is between Daggerfall and Hammerfell. Okay, so in a playable state, what it means is pretty much now again, he might say some of the rest of it, but I'll let him finish this first. Let me open this up real quick. Wind it back just a tab. I'll let him finish up what he was saying.
Technology and how the game is coming together. You know, we're able to play it. We've just passed we're about to pass a big milestone internally. The majority of the studio is on the game and some of our partners. So, it's weird.
Okay, so there's a lot of nuggets right there. So we know it's in the playable state. They're about to pass a big milestone, and the most of the people, the majority of people are working on this game. So most likely this is already in, I will say it's going from pre-production and they might be heading into full production, or they might, or are they already in full production? Let me go check and Google this real quick. I'm not too sure if they're still in pre-production or full production. It sounds like they're in pre-production in a playable state, but are they in full production? So and yes, Elder Scrolls 6 currently is in full production. Officially confirmed that the game it left pre-production and now is actively in development. Okay, so when Elder Scrolls 6 dev says we are going to take our time, and as long as we need it to be, great. Point to GTA 6 as the delay smartness thing that they can do. Okay, so yes, so they're in full production. I don't know when they're in full production. I think they was in full production a while ago. Actually, let me go ask Copilot for this. Yeah. And when? Yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is in full production, and it's been since early 2024, but that's shifted their studio projects to a Starfield ship and reportedly development in progress. Full production began early 2024. Okay. All right. So we already got that out the way. I'm sorry. I had to get this right. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right information. I should have got it ready, but hey, I wanted to talk about it. So yes. So if we already know that it began in early 2024. So now let's get a timeline here real quick. So that means that if my understanding was that if Elder Scrolls 6 was announced all the way back from 7 years ago, so pretty much during those 7 years that they was doing Elder Scrolls, during that time, they was working on, not Elder Scrolls. So during that time, Starfield, and then they was working on Elder Scrolls 6 during that time. So that means they probably took 3 to 4 years of planning, or 3 years, and then they went into pre-production, and then they went into full production in 2024. So when Starfield released in 2023, 1 year, and then they did their DLC. Then after that, they still working content for Starfield, but now it was in full production in 2024. So now we got a better understanding. So that means that if it's in full production from 2024, so 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. So basically, if this was right, so it will take them 3 years. So that means they had 3 years in full production. So they came out of pre-production in late 2023, going into 2024. They're heading into full production. Okay. All right. So that means, yeah, I don't think it's going to be shown off this year. And like, again, they said they're going to take their time. So most likely, we're not going to see this till 2027. That's 4 years in full production. But they said that they already have it in a playable state, right? If that's Todd Howard, that's correct.
I'm not here to say how the game is coming together. You know, we're able to play it. We've just we're about to pass a big milestone in turn.
So they're already able to play it, and they about to pass a big milestone. So where are they at on here? I'll put it like this. I think where they at is they already made the map. We can say that confidently, like the map is done. So whatever this map, what they did, I made a video about that the last time. This map is done. Most likely the cities and stuff like that and the roads are being put in place. Most likely they have the characters and stuff, the towns, the cities and stuff, and it's in a playable state. So that means if it's in a playable state, so that means the city, basically the map itself and the city and stuff like that around it, and some NPCs and quests and some mechanics and stuff, is most likely is being is pretty much wrapped up with duct tape. But it's not like, you know, like saying like, hey, we're gonna, you know, solder it down, like we're gonna set everything in stone. I think that's what they're going to be doing currently in this year, going into next year in 2027. I think they're going to start laying everything in stones and putting more detail, putting more stuff. I think that's where they at. And they said they're going to pass another big milestone. So in a playable state and another passing big milestone, most likely we might say most of the city stuff might be done. Most of the dungeons could be done. Trees and locations and other things are being put in place. They're probably, I will say, they're not at the testing and bug phases yet. They're not there yet. So I will say they're most likely might be either 70-80% done with the game. I think they're either 70% or 60-70%, maybe most likely done with the game. So that's pretty much where they at. Because if you get towards probably like 80 going into 90%, that's when like you're starting to wrap things up and you're heading into testing phase, like bug tests and stuff like that. And then when you get towards 90, towards 100, it's like everything is tested, the system is worked out, we can play the game from beginning to end. So I believe they're at probably either 50%. I don't know, actually not 50. I think 50 will be like pre-production. So they pretty much is out of pre-production. They're in full production. They did it in 2024. It's been 3 years. So yeah, you could say it's about between maybe probably like 70 going into 80% of the game. They about to pass a big milestone. So in terms of like where they at in the game, I think that's where they at. Like some of the systems and stuff is in there. Probably the boat systems and stuff is in place. They're not fully tested yet, but they got some of the mechanics is already in place. The NPCs, the city, the world itself, the dungeons in certain locations still probably needs to be worked on, and quests needs to be connected together and certain stuff. So there's certain things that still needs to be done and tweak and test, but maybe all the major stuff like the cities, the towns and stuff like that, I think those things are done. And the boat system is in there. Most likely all that stuff most likely is pretty much is in place. Now they just gotta nail it down and kind of finish it, wrap it up, dungeon stuff and testing things out, and then we'll see where it's at. That's why I don't think, like, again, I don't believe it's gonna be shown off in 2026. I highly doubt it. I mean, is it in a playable state? Could they show off a trailer? Sure, but I doubt it. I think they're gonna put their heads down and they're gonna work hard. Just what they're doing right now with Starfield, right? With their next update expansion, and they're gonna release it for PS5. I'm pretty sure we're not going to hear about this game most likely in 2027. So I don't agree with this post when they say this, but I can't say here, and I have a feeling like 2027, most likely you will see it and hear about it. So that's where we at. Okay. All right. So at least we got that out the way. At least we know about that. Okay. What else you got for me, Todd?
Currently, the majority of the studio is on the game, and some of our
So the majority of the studios is already on the game, so which is good.
partners. So,
And their partners as well. So again, they do have partners outside of Bethesda that's also helping and contributing and working on the game as well. So it seems to me everything is going smoothly. And he said it's going to be still a little ways away. So, like, again, I don't think it's in 2026. It's most likely it's going to be in 2027 for sure. We might hear something or see a trailer or something. Possibly could push back towards 2028. That could be another thing too. But I don't know. I think their goal is to try to get it out or release out in 2027 or early 2028. I think that is their goal. If possible, if it's going to be for next year, it's not going to be early 2028. It's probably going to be late 2028 for sure. They like to take their time. So it's either this year, 2020, next year, 2027, or 2028 for sure.
It's weird. I'm not here to like sell anything or talk. Really, it's really a catch-up conversation.
Yeah.
So I feel bad.
Damn.
Because people want information. I appreciate that.
Shit, you already gave us enough information, Todd. This is all we need, man. This is all we need.
But I'm much more, I like to think long term about when you really see the game and hear about it, focusing on that moment and kind of, not today or the time in between.
Well, I assure you, I doubt very few people showed up to the Kind of Funny Games cast expecting you to show footage today. So don't worry.
Hell no. Nobody gonna show no damn footage of Elder Scrolls 6. You crazy? Man, we're not gonna see that until like 2027. But I'm happy that he just gave us some news on the progress. That's all we want to hear. If you just give us some news about the progress of how's it going, hey, that's more than enough for me. That's more than enough for me, Todd. I'm happy.
You're in a safe spot.
Grateful.
There you go. That was it.
Talk to me a little inside the studio game dev stuff. Jumping off of the Elder Scrolls 6, but not obviously giving me stuff you're not going to give me. You talk about the majority of the studio being on it, right? So that's 250 plus people who are working on that. How do you keep that straight? You know what I mean? How do you, as a studio, as a team, as multiple teams, as multiple project managers, bosses, organize something of that magnitude?
Oh yeah, it's tricky, but we do have production directors on every project and creative directors. I tend to spend most of my time on the new things, so like.
Okay, so we hear it here first. So he's spending most of the time on the new thing. So basically, he probably okay. This is how it is. Like, I think that what the production side of things, how Todd Howard works this, is the fact that, again, there's so many people there, and they're like, okay, we need a, creative lead, this one, there. But Todd Howard do spend time with his games. So I think he spent more times at the beginning setting up the stages. So probably after this, when this game is about to be ready towards release, I'm pretty sure he's also spending some time on Fallout 5 as well, and saying, okay, here's what I want for Fallout 5. Here's the direction we want to go. You know what I'm saying? He spent, like, again, he just said, like, he's spending most of his times on the new things. So he's definitely spending time more on Elder Scrolls 6 than he is with Starfield. I think Starfield has already set in stone, and they already got creative leads and directors that he said is underneath him. So basically, if they wanted to do something or make a change, they could do it, and whatever, if it's good, it makes sense and cool. But he's most likely leaning towards, like, making sure, like, hey, how's Elder Scrolls 6 is going, and making sure that every phase of that, from the beginning phases, like concept stages, story planning and stuff like that, going into pre-production, testing tools out, engine wise and stuff like that, and then they're gonna go into like full production. He's spending more time there in the full production and through from the beginning to full production. So when it gets closer to release, he'll be ready to present it and show like what they have to offer and stuff. So, and again, after when Elder Scrolls 6 starts to get closer towards a release and a release date, then he'll most likely be spending more time in working on Fallout 5 with, like, again, the same process and stuff like that. So, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, it's tricky, but we do have production directors on every project and creative directors.
So production directors and creative directors under each of these projects. So each of these projects has a certain director. They can just basically go up to them, go up to the top. They have a meeting. Here's what they want to do, blah, blah, blah. If they want to do like this, okay, hey, we could do that. That's fine. Like, it's going to be like that way. So at least Todd Howard will have a meeting with them, so they get an idea and the vision that he wants to do, and then they go down there and just let them know, like, okay, here's what we're doing, here's the plan, and this is the direction we want to go for.
I tend to spend most of my time in the new things, so like most of my time is on Elder Scrolls 6.
Sure.
And then, the other projects, we have great leaders sort of across the studio. You think about Elder Scrolls, the majority of the folks that made Skyrim are actually still here. And the studio is an amazing place where we have people that have been here decades, but we also have a lot of new talent that's coming to the studio with skills they've picked up at other studios, or they grew up as fans of our games and now they're professionals. So I think the studio makeup is in a really great spot. But yeah, it's a juggling act. Fallout 76 is so popular.
Yeah.
We have another big season coming out. It's like our 65th or 66th update to that game.
I did my homework. 66. Don't worry, of course. Season 24, The Backwoods, coming out March 3rd. I'm prepped. I'm ready.
With Bigfoot. There you go. All right, we'll plug that.
We'll get there.
But look, when you have a big live service game in that way, it does take a lot of time and headspace from the studio, but great team on that, great partners on that. So that's in a good spot. Yeah, it's tricky, but we've gotten better at it over the years and overlapping our projects and bringing, key folks onto projects that really need them at the right time.
You jump off of there, that 76 conversation, something I think.
All right, so they're going to get into like 76 stuff, but I think that little tab right there, just to let us know, like, again, he has a lot of projects. They're juggling, they're going in between and overlapping, but it seems like he is definitely key on certain things and people that they need to bring on to do the job and work on it. They do got old people that did Skyrim and they got new talent from new things. And this is why, like I said, given the fact that Creation Engine 3, now again, we don't know how it will look like, but I think I got a video of it. If anything, I think it's somewhere right here. Right, this is a pre-alpha footage. I don't know if this is real or not, but like again, it seems to be real to me. It seems to be real because, or this could have been like maybe Creation Engine 2 that they're testing it before they say, okay, we could upgrade it towards Creation Engine 3. Because for real, the way how this character is moving, it's definitely not like from like Skyrim at all. Like it's definitely looked like a much more smoother animations and stuff like that. For sure. And it does look smooth. Yeah. Cause like again, this almost like it seems to be real because like again, I don't think this is fake. I mean, looking at this right here in the comparison to Starfield, which I have played, you know, I can imagine what Creation Engine 3 can be like. Again, having the sword behind the back right here, arms like this, the structure of this, the hairstyle, this, like how the world will look. Like again, they said that they already in full production and they have already stated that is in a playable state. So this is what I can imagine that this could be in a playable state. But knowing that what the Creation Engine 2 can do in terms of like animations and stuff like that, I can imagine like Creation Engine 3, like hair animations, animations of like swords and weapons and stuff like that. Like mods that they use mods for Skyrim right now for special edition, most of those things is going to make their way into Creation Engine 3, and we don't need any more mods on top of it to make it even more smoother animation or doing any of these crazy stuff, because most of that is going to be well over improved. So yeah, so even though this is like a, you know, pre-alpha footage, it seems like things are going along pretty well. Right, this is probably from like pre-production and pretty much is not into, I think they're in full production, so most of the stuff is mostly tidy up and cleaned up and stuff. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. But given the fact that, again, I do appreciate Todd Howard still using Creation Engine 3. Like again, you know, as the years go by, each and every year we're going to get older and older, and some of these people are either going to be retired, they're going to be dead, they're going to either go to another studio, or they're going to do something completely different. But as time moves forward, nothing really is going to stay the same, right? So for me, as a fan of Bethesda, I can understand that you're not going to keep or have the same people to been around for decades. Like a lot of people in this like kind of like mindset, like a lot of these content creators are still living in the past, still thinking like, oh yeah, we still got this, you know, living like the early 2000s. Bro, those days are long fucking gone, man. 25 years has passed, a lot of shit has happened. So what do you expect? Like things are just, they just gonna keep making the same game. I remember one time even not that long ago, right? I think like even like 25 years ago, Capcom was pretty much hated for a lot of things. Like they was hated for some of the bad practices and some of the shit that they have done in the past, right? Which they didn't make a good image of themselves. And a lot of people are just like, you know, this is like 25 years ago. This is like when Capcom was making good games and then they fucked up, and a lot of turmoil, leadership, a lot of shit been going on, and they was not delivering, not been doing good things. But slowly but surely, Capcom realized like, hey, if we want to make it in the next 25 years or the next decade or whatever, the next 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, we need to really innovate and do things different. And we see that Capcom has really turned shit around. And I think this is what Bethesda is trying to do for, for Elder Scrolls, like, again, surviving in the next couple of decades down the road. Look at Resident Evil 9 Requiem. We all thought Resident Evil 6 was pretty much the last Capcom game. It's garbage. Nobody cares about the game. Nobody likes Resident Evil. It's boring, right? But again, something will happen at Capcom, whether leadership change or whatever. They turned the ship around, and now they're making remakes of old games of Capcom stuff that fans been asking and wanting for, and they also making new entries for new games in their new engine. They turned the ship around. Again, they're not perfect. They still need work, but they was a lot better. They're a lot better now than how they was back in like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They was in a worse spot. They was not in a good spot. Same thing with Sega, same thing with Konami. Like, we're starting to see Konami coming out and really showing and trying to do something different. They're not perfect, but at least they're saying, they're trying to do something, because they said, look, man, if we don't want to get left behind, we need to survive, and the times has changed, people has changed. What can we do to survive in this current market, right? And I know this might be another video for another time, but I just wanted to say this just to say that, again, like, tying back with what's going on with Bethesda, right? With Todd Howard, getting Creation Engine 3 is going to power for the next couple of games in the next decade or so. Again, he's treating this and doing things in his studio to prepare themselves in the next, generations, down the road, right? And we see the success of doing it. Like, again, the modding community right here is growing. We see Starfield modding stuff is growing, still, and it's on 11th place. It's literally right up here, about to get up there real soon. And we see the growth. So it's like seeing people say, oh, Starfield failed, Starfield didn't do well. I doubt it. I think Todd Howard is doing the right things, what he needs to do, and not trying to follow a trend. Okay, you don't need to follow what Baldur's Gate doing. Let Larian be Larian. If Larian wants to do Baldur's Gate 4 or whatever the fuck it is, let them do them. Okay, I don't tell Larian what to do or what engine or what they need to do. That's Larian's job. Okay, Starfield and Todd Howard, what they need to do, work on their creation engine. If their engine is easy to get people in here to mod and do all these great things, I say keep it going. I mean, it's showing a track record right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got 7 and 8 right here on the first page. That's 8 Bethesda games. You want to mod Bethesda games right here on the first page? You got 8 of them. If you got 8 on this page on Nexus Mods, then obviously you're doing something good. Okay, obviously they're in the right direction. They're obviously doing things what they should be doing. So for that, I got no problems with what Todd Howard is doing. Okay, and they're bringing in new writers and new stuff. Then hey, it is what it is. Okay, these people that have been writing for Skyrim from like 10 years ago, let me tell you something right now. They're either alive, they're dead, or they're retired. Okay, or they moved on to somewhere else, or they're doing something else. Okay, you gotta understand that. Okay, nobody's here is gonna be there in that studio, gonna be there forever. Okay, each individual people that are working on these games, no matter if it's Baldur's Gate, no matter if it's from CD Projekt Red, right? No matter if it's from Bethesda, each and every individual that's working on these fucking games got their own lives and their own situations, okay? And some of these people can be some really fantastic fucking writers. And some of them have to go and leave and work somewhere else or do something else. They're not gonna stay with the studio forever. Shit change. Every year we're seeing the world has changing right before our eyes. In video game culture, stuff around us, shit is changing. Either you're gonna get with it or you're gonna get left behind. It really is that simple. Okay? But the whole point is, what I'm saying is, Starfield is on the right track. Elder Scrolls 6 is on the right track. And they just let them do what they need to do. They don't need to go to Unreal Engine fucking 5. That unstable ass fucking engine. Stop it. Okay? We see plenty of people using different engines and their shit is successful. They don't need Unreal Engine to be successful. It's ridiculous because, like, again, we're seeing Capcom using their own in-house engine. They're right here on the top of their page. They don't need Unreal Engine 5 to save them. They got their own fucking shit. Kingdom Come Deliverance got their own fucking engine. And that game did successful, right? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was successful. So, case in point, the proof is that each of these studios, if they have their own engine and they're fine with it, they're upgrading it, they're innovating it, they're making it better, which they have. And you can't sit there and deny and say, oh, well, Creation Engine Creation Engine 2 engine didn't make improvements. Yes, they have. They did visual upgrades, overhaul animation, which it was sorely needed in Skyrim, because Skyrim animation is stiff as fuck. Okay, it is not smooth. We're talking about unmodded, not modded, unmodded. It is not smooth. Okay, if you know about a Bethesda game, you should know this already. So they made a lot of improvements in this one. You can imagine what Creation Engine 3 is going to be like. So to close this out, we know that it's in a playable state. They're probably between either 60-70% of the game done. Most likely they're heading towards that point where they're about to start finishing and putting all the other places like tacked down. I think right now, when he said it's a playable state and we're heading into a milestone, they're pretty much right now they're in duct tape. I wouldn't say they're on scotch tape, like pre-production. Like pre-production is scotch tape, that thin little tape shit, you know, that doesn't really hold up too well. They was on that in pre-production. Now they're using duct tape. Okay, not Gorilla Glue duct tape. Okay, not that one. The duct tape, the gray one. They're using that, which it holds up more better than scotch tape, but it's a lot more stable, more stick, and it's able to hold itself up. So right now they got to go from undoing scotch tape to now they got to hammer down nails and nail it in place to make sure, like, hey, whatever we need to put down here, this is how it's going to be. They're going to do decorations and stuff like that, so they get those done. Then when it gets closer to done, they're going to do the little touch-ups, details, testing, mechanics and stuff, and playing the game from beginning to end. So pretty much I think they're at 60-70% of the game most likely is done. So I don't think it's going to come out in 2026. Most likely is going to be at the tail end of 2027. Could possibly maybe get pushed back towards the tail end of 2028, most likely, but we have to wait and see. However, we do know, right, we can confirm a couple of things here that Todd Howard did confirm, that what they're using in Creation Engine 3 is going to make improvements in terms of loading screens, minimal loading into procedural generated and from handcrafted areas and vice versa. So that makes sense. And procedural generated, like I said in the last video, we could take hints from Starfield where they use spaceships and stuff. Most likely we might have also we can have shipbuilding in whatchamacallit, in Elder Scrolls 6 Irolac. We're going to have some type of shipbuilding or something like that. So we know we're going to have house building and stuff like that. We know we're going to have that, and we also going to have some sort of shipbuilding and stuff. Hell, maybe they might even throw in, hey, you can also build your wagon or something. I don't know. Wagon, carriage. That could be a case too. You know, so it's going to be very interesting how it's going to play out. So we're going to have to keep it up, but at least we can get a confirmation on that. I don't believe in this 2027, like I said. And we do know that this right here is also true because, like, again, we already see Starfield has dropped from 2023. Is now going to be put over to PlayStation 5 this year in 2026. And they're going to talk about Starfield's next big expansion soon. Could be around, it could be in March, which I'm pretty sure is going to be in March. And whatchamacallit. And I'm pretty sure they are going to delay this. So yes, this I don't think is going to be it's not going to release in PlayStation anytime soon. I think they're going to use the same strategy that they have done with Starfield. They're going to use the same strategy for Elder Scrolls 6 Erlac. That's what they're going to do. So yeah, so at least we know, as far as we know, it's in a playable state, it works. I think we know where we're at. So that's about it, and that'll be a wrap for here. So again, let me know, what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below, like, share, comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. What do you guys think? You think this game is going to be coming out in 2027, or are we going to see something or a teaser in 2026 in the Xbox showcase when they talking about next gen console? I don't know, that could be a possibility, but I don't hedge my bets on that. I think it's going to be next year for sure. Or they're going to push it back all the way till 2028. Like, we might see it in 2027, but it's not going to release until 2028. That could be also another possibility as well. So we got to wait and see what happens. But I have a feeling that this game most likely is going to be some sort of release on the next gen consoles. Like, you know, because again, given the fact that GTA 6 is coming out first, and if you want to pull people away from GTA 6, there's only a couple of games, and I'm pretty sure there was a interview when PlayStation was talking about, I think it was one of the old execs, because they're talking about, like, when they was putting games on PC and trying to entice people from PC players, like for PlayStation games, hey, come buy our platform and stuff like that, right? You know, I don't think, like again, if they're going to entice people or anything to buy a console or something, you got to have a game that's, you know, that's going to be worth something. And I think he also mentioned that GTA 5 does, he said something like weather the effects or whatever. I gotta find that interview. But long story short is, like, you know, GTA does make people go out there to buy consoles and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure he also said, well, there's some games out there that does that. There's a couple of games. So that's one of them. And I'm pretty sure this one right here is the second one that do make people to say, yeah, let me go get a console and I gotta get Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I gotta get it. You know, there's one, and I think pretty much Cyberpunk 2077 Part 2, when that drops, that's also can make people to go out there and buy a console as well. So there's only a handful of games, but I think those two games, what I know, I'm pretty sure this one is. So I wouldn't be surprised this will be a time exclusive before going into the PS5 or 6. Most likely, maybe they just might say we're not going to release it until the PS6. That could be another thing too. So anyway, I'm going on too much. I'm rambling on. But again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? And until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.